What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Cly, and welcome back to That Thrifting Series. Today, I've got a mix for you. It's not purely going to be thrifted, it's not purely going to be dumpster, but I've got a theme going on and I don't have enough items in either category to make a fully dedicated video. So let's jump right in with the first dumpster dived item for the evening, and that is the Optimus SA155 integrated stereo amplifier. Now I know it doesn't look that impressive, but there's a bit of a community, at least from a few years ago, that sprung up around these little guys. And that's because, according to them, they're very well made, great sounding headphone amps. They're not really using it as part of their hi-fi or dedicated stereo system, but they're loving them when used with decent headphones. And I've got a pair of those coming up later, actually. I have this as part of my main computer setup. I have it plugged into an HD audio card, and I love it. I have full control over the volume, balance, and, well, okay, the tone's not the greatest. I have to put it all the way to bass to get the normal sound. One complaint I have, but seeing as how I got it for free, I can live with it. But I use this, like I said, so that I have full control from my desktop without having to adjust my system audio or reach down and use the manual knobs on my computer. So it's actually really good for what I need. Plus, there are a few Let's Players I watch out there who end up with rip headphone user moments and freak out when the audio gets really loud. I don't have that issue. I've got a power button. They need to invest in one of these, assuming they're not overreacting for views, and I think they're overreacting for views. That's just me, though. On to the next item. Alright, next up is something that I have been wanting for ages, especially since I've started doing things via camera versus desktop capture, and that is an LED marquee. I picked this up for only $1, and I think that's because the person pricing it thought it was nothing more than an alarm clock. Mainly because it has a little port here that says alarm. The only downside is it did not come with a power cable, so if you see this monstrosity hanging off the side, that's because I bodged together my own 10-volt power cable using dumpster dive parts, really. Every bit of it's dumpster dived, aside from the solder and epoxy putty. The tip is from a cord that I repurposed for another monitor. The USB-B port is from a printer I dumpster dived, as is the USB-B cable. I then spliced said cable with another USB cable so that I could use two wall wart USB chargers as a single power source, both of which were also dumpster dived. Let's just go ahead and open it up here and hit display. It works. Okay, it's got some serious flicker on the camera, but you're pretty much going to have that on any LED screen. I'm going to just shift this little guy to the back and grab the next item. Alright, this next item I grabbed not because it was incredibly valuable or even incredibly interesting, but because it gave me a really dumb video idea. And that item is the Dean Markley Pro Mag Grand acoustic guitar pickup. Basically, it allows you to turn an acoustic guitar into an electric guitar and gives it its own sound. I picked this up for $2, and from what I could tell, it originally retailed for about $45, and they still go for that today, which is nice. But I don't play acoustic guitar, or guitar in general, which means I really need to do something about the two electric guitars sitting in my closet that I dumpster dived way back. No, this is an idea I had for a fidget spinner video. I need to know if a fidget spinner can gent. One of the weirdest memes in the last couple of years, and I think it's really a dead one at this point, but it's one of those rare metal memes, and I must investigate. So at some point, I am going to dig out the guitar amp that I dumpster dived, plug this into it, kick up a spinner with a ferromagnetic, there we go, a ferromagnetic counterweight, and see if indeed a fidget spinner can gent. And if it doesn't on its own, I'm going to dig out those electric guitars and try that. On to the next, less weird item. Here's hoping this next item isn't too reflective for its own good with my current lighting setup, but it is a Lanier or Lanier, I have no idea how to pronounce it, Electret condenser microphone. It's a little clip-on condenser mic. Even better, when I first bought this, I thought it was just going to be claiming to be condenser and not actually a powered one, or trying to get juice from the headphone jack, or mic jack, I should say. But no, it's actually battery powered. It uses a 1.5 volt button cell battery, and to be honest, it has decent sound. Of course, I have to run it through my preamp, but in the near future, I actually might use this instead of my Audio-Technica mic when I have to stand up and move around while recording. That'll just make things much easier. I have nothing else to say about this, so on to the next item. Time for the last of the dumpster dived items, and that is a tablet. This is a 7-inch Android tablet marketed at parents, and it's actually not a bad little device. It is the Curio 7S. It has a 1 gigahertz all-winner A20 CPU, 1 gigabyte of RAM, 8 gigabytes of internal storage, a 1024 by 600 screen, a Mali 400 GPU, a 2.1 megapixel camera in the back. The front-facing camera is 0.3 megapixels. It is a BG in-band wireless card and uses Android 4.2. I am totally not reading that off of a spec sheet or anything. Nope, not at all. Best part is, it's fully functional. No cracked screen, no issues. I have found several, well, more than several. I've found probably a good half a dozen tablets by now. Each and every one of them with a dead screen in some way, shape, or form. A couple of them are still functional with the bad screen. I could drop $10 and fix it, but haven't yet. And then I found two that were just so obliterated there around purely for parts. I actually really like this tablet, to be honest. All I had to do when I found it was give it a factory reset, and it was good to go. I'm assuming the kid grew out of it or just stopped using it, and the parents were like, garbage. Let's not donate it anywhere. Let's not resell it. Let's just throw it in the trash. And then scavengers like me find it. Now you know why I dumpster dive. Yep. The reason I say it's marketed to parents, might as well point this out, is by default it uses multiple profiles. You can set up children's profiles on this tablet, and it uses a cutesy theme, and it uses cutesy web browsing and limited web browsing and pre-installed kids games, and I don't use any of that. I download stuff off of Amazon Underground all the time. Runs most of it quite well, but it's definitely not powerful enough for a lot of the more modern games. Yeah, still, I love it. So, one more item, and then we're off. This last item, some of you might remember from the Budget Buys episode where I talked about some Bluetooth wireless headphones, and that's the Audio-Technica AT-H-M30. I love these things. These are the best headphones I have ever used, hands down, and definitely the best in my collection. Great sound, great fidelity, just, The only complaint I have is the cups will get a little uncomfortable over an extended period of time, but I've noticed that most Audio-Technica headphones in this range, including the M50s, have the same pads, so I don't think I'm going to be escaping that anytime soon. Outside of that, though, I'm in love. And the best part is, they were $5. From the same location that will take a pair of headphones donated by the public library. I'm not kidding, I actually saw them. They were the crappiest looking over-the-head ear cups I've ever seen. They put them behind the case for like $40. Nah. They put these on the floor for $5 shortly thereafter. They put crappy Radio Shack branded karaoke mics behind the case for $20. I am currently using an Audio-Technica AT822 $400 microphone that I got from there for $5. It's like Audio-Technica is their blind spot. They think it's the crappiest brand on the planet, and I am not going to correct them. I am going to keep hoping more people bring them their Audio-Technica gear. Another thing I bought from there was a motherboard with a CPU built in. They wanted $8. Well, I bought it, and it turns out it was an i7. Oh, what was it? 3770K. That's what it was. Sorry, I couldn't think of it for a second. That's my main computer now. I paid $8 for what at the time was a $350 processor and a $200 motherboard. And neither item has degraded in value that much. So yes, while that thrift store is the most volatile when it comes to pricing, it's also been some of my best payouts. I think that'll cover it for today. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like. If you dislike this video or think I could have done something better, go ahead and leave a dislike. If you have any items that you want me to keep an eye out for while thrifting, or you want to just know what my favorite thrifted items are, or want to say hello, go ahead and leave a comment. I try to reply to everyone. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, I'll pop up a playlist, and you can subscribe if you haven't already. Got a little mush mouth on that one. Until next time, this is your guy Cly, signing off.